Good morning, everyone. Today I was so compelled to share with you some more things that I'm learning about the innate intelligence and wisdom of our animals and how they actually can help us to help them to heal. This has been something that I have been following and tracking and helping people with for almost 22 years now, and every animal teaches me something else about nutrition and what they need. And more recently, what I've been discovering is the connection between behavior changes and food. And I know this was a thing just because I've experienced it with other animals. But more recently with Maui, as I've been on this big journey of relocation, I wanted to find possibly something different to Raw that would be easier to navigate while we were in kind of that moving period. And so I went to a freeze-dried thinking it was going to be great. It was still nutritious. It was a company that I know well. And I was amazed at what happened. So my name is Michelle Lowry. I am an animal intuitive. I've been doing this for probably much longer than I realize. And my passion is to give animals a voice and to see life through their eyes, because when we can see it through their eyes, which very often is different to the way we might see an issue or a concern, or even the way they're loving life, it opens up these new doorways and these new pathways to really understanding why they've come into our lives if it's not completely obvious, what they're showing us, what they're teaching us. And nutrition and behavior has been a big one for me to track from way back when. And if you check my bio on my website, you'll get the entire history of how I even ended up into this world. But what I wanted to share with you is this change in food. I also wanted to share, while it's coming to me, that a lot of companies that are holistic-based food companies are being bought out. And they're being bought out by companies that don't care as much about the quality of the ingredients that go into their food. So then you start to see behavior changes happening because the ingredients changed, even though the label did not. And it's not always obvious who owns the company. So if you're in a position where you've been feeding a food forever and all of a sudden you have health issues, just check online and see who owns that company, and that will give you some kind of insight into the fact that you may need to change up the food or do something a little differently. That's just a sideline. So I switched Maui to this freeze-dried food, and within 48 hours, his behavior was off the charts crazy. He would be eating his food just fine. He's never missed a meal. And then he would just not know what to do with himself, and he would be running around, and he would be very exuberant, and he would be out of control with himself. And it was not the behavior that I'm used to or that he always did. And so I realized something was up. And I, over a period of a few days and probably into a week or so, I realized that the connection was the food that I was feeding him. And so I stopped feeding it, and I went back to what I know best, which is raw and keeping it simple and good nutritious ingredients and some great supplements and gut support. And he clearly wasn't getting that, or that combination of freeze-dried food was not working for him at all. And so I stopped feeding it. And I've never been a proponent of, well, I have it, I may as well finish the bag. If it's not working, it's not working. And so I switched him back to raw, and literally within 2 days he would eat breakfast and then be super calm and 4 feet on the ground, and the stress was off and his body wasn't in panic mode. So it was another way of realizing and learning how important keeping track of food is if you're buying processed food, if you're buying food that someone else has created and put ingredients in, to really check the label, do the research. It's all out there. There's some great websites now that will give you that kind of information, and you can simply Google who owns blah blah company, and you're going to get the information that you're looking for. So if your animal has suddenly changed behavior, take a look at the food first. If it's not food, then that behavior could be something else that's going on. Believe it or not, spiritual activity in your house will create a behavior change, because even if you can't see the spirit, they can. Just like young babies and young children can see spirit. So if there's a behavior change and you know it's not the food, that might be a place to check. If that feels like it's the case, and very often people have said, I feel like there's an energy in the house, or I feel like something has changed in the house, or somebody came in and left and something changed. It's all real. It's no judgment. It's just there's a lot of energy out there right now that is attaching, and that's just what's happening, and our animals can be the target just as much as we can. And so it's really important to notice those behavior changes and when they happened. If all of this is like, oh my God, Michelle, I don't even know how to navigate this, you can always contact me, and we can set up a session remote, or if you're in England and in the South, in person, and we can really go through what that behavior is from the perspective of your animal, and not what we think, and then we go down that mind game, and then we go on Google and we go, oh my God. Let's talk to your animals. Let's see what they have to say about this behavior change. I want to also remind you that they have an innate intelligence when they're not well of what they need, and it's all very accessible these days. But very often animals will guide me into homeopathic remedies, or dried herbs, or a change in food. From their perspective, this is what their body needs, their mind needs. And so when you come from that perspective, you stop trying to fix something, and you stop doing ultimate testing that's not giving you any answers. Go to the source. The source knows what it needs. And they have proven that to me over the past 22 years, that when you ask them and they tell you, and you honor that and you do it, that they get better, they improve, they shift, and maybe it's multi-layered, but at least you're coming in from what they are asking for. And I wanted to share a quick story before I jump off. So yesterday I was with Maui, and we went over to a new friend's house. She's an amazing sound healer. And we went over there, and we hadn't ever been in her house before. And so Maui's checking everything out, and there's all this beautiful energy in there. And we went into the hallway, and he found this bowl with essential oils in it. And he started nuzzling at it. So I took the bowl, excuse me, and one at a time, I took each bottle out without taking the lid off of it, and let him smell it. And what I have found in the past is that they will put their mouth around the one that they want, as if to say, give me this one, but they don't have hands to take it. So I went through with this oil and this oil and this oil and this oil, and then finally there was an oil in there that he wanted, because he put his mouth around it. So I put all the other oils away, and I looked at the label, and the label said stress. And he has been under stress for various reasons, and plus, a big move. So it made total sense, but he picked that oil. So I took the oil, I put a few drops in my hand, I rubbed my hands together, and then I rubbed the oil down his spine. It's one of the easiest ways to apply an essential oil without being in their face and over the top. And it was maybe 2 drops, and I rubbed it down his back. And so in that moment, I was listening to him, I was honoring him, and I wasn't questioning why he wanted that and taking it personally, and oh my God, it was just, this is what he needs in this moment, and let's just do that for him. So we did, and then we went out for this beautiful walk out on the cliffs by the Fire Hills at Hastings Country Park. So listen and pay attention to your animals. They really do know what they need, and if you have any questions or you want to schedule an appointment, feel free to reach out, and we can do that for you and show you how it works from a different perspective. Sending you much love from me and see if I can find Sunshine. I don't know where she went to. Oh, she's way, way over there in the paddock. So just let me know if I can help. Sending you so much love. Thank you for being here and listening. And if I don't speak to you all beforehand, wishing you a blessed and wonderful and filled with love 2024. Take care. Bye-bye.